What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. You have no idea how excited I am to make this video today. This is my favorite video of the entire season. Top 5 bold predictions. Let's just hop right into it. So the idea of this video is not to hit on 5 of 5. If I hit on every single one of these, then they are not bold enough, okay? It is ideally meant to hit on none. I believe we hit on like 3 last season. I don't really remember. That feels like too many. This year, I'm trying to step up the boldness while also keeping in mind that it's just dumb to give away something that's not going to happen. So we're going to start off with one that I think is very reasonable, and we're going to work our way a little bit into the boldness. I really like Big Ben this season, so I'm going to say Big Ben leads the league in passing yardage. He's got Antonio Brown. He's got Juju. He's got Vance, who's a good pass-catching tight end, if Vance can, stay healthy and get healthy. He's got Antonio Brown. He's got Juju. He's got Vance McDonald, who's actually a really good pass-catching tight end if he can get onto the field and stay onto the field. And he's got Le'Veon Bell, one of the best pass-catching running backs in the league. These are some of the best weapons he has had in his career. Now, for him to finish in this, leading the league in passing, he's going to need anywhere from like 4,700 to 5,100 passing yards. It obviously depends year to year. Some years it's a down year for passing, like we saw last season. Some years it's on the uptrend of passing. I think it's going to be more towards the more elite numbers we've seen passing-wise this season. But that is well within his range of outcomes. He's only actually been over 4,400 yards one time in his career. He got up to 4,900 once. I think he does that again. I think he goes over 5,000 this season. I think he has a phenomenal season. And we also have to remember that Le'Veon Bell has yet to report. Now, maybe he does, right when this video is going out. I think that he's going to start the season, but it is possible that maybe James Conner starts the season, who's looked good, but they're obviously not going to feed him the same way they did Le'Veon Bell. So within Big Ben's range of outcomes is an absolutely scorching hot start, and it's Big Ben. He's going to put up numbers regardless of matchup, regardless of how his team's doing. They're going to air it out, especially at home. So I think that Big Ben can lead the league in passing this season. Let's move on to number 2, and we got Jamal Williams. I think Jamal Williams finishes the season as a top 10 running back. He is the Packers' starting running back. That's not something that we're going to sit here and debate. That's not a hot take. That is the take, because it is the fact. He is the starting running back of the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones is a better rusher. He's a better actual running back. When you look in the backfield and you're going to give one of the two of them a carry, you want it to be Aaron Jones. Ideally, he's a better running back. The issue is that he can't block, and also he's suspended, so he can't play. When you think about that and you think about the dynamic of NFL teams, if Jamal Williams, I've said this 100,000 times over the offseason, if Jamal Williams starts off good, which I think he will, because I think he is good, if he starts off good and they start off winning games, they're not just going to insert Aaron Jones into the lineup. So in order for him to lose the job, he has to stink. And I don't think that happens, because Aaron Rodgers is going to keep defenses honest, and they're going to be a good football team. They have an improved defense, a very much improved defense. That's great for a running back. So you've got an ultra high scoring offense. You've got a really good quarterback that'll keep defenses honest, and you've got a great defense. This sets him up to finish the top 10 running back. Ty Montgomery is not a running back. He is not a running back. He's a wide receiver. They can use him as a scat back sometimes, but he's not a running back. He's not any sort of concern to Jamal Williams' workload. Let's pull up a tweet that TJ Hernandez, I don't even remember when it was, but it was a couple of months ago, I believe. There were 8 running backs that had more games with at least 2/3 of the running back touches than Jamal Williams. So last season, where he was the running back 8 over the second half of the season, we saw what he can do. This isn't a pick where it's like, he's good, he's in a good offense, maybe he can do good. No, he is good, and he's in a good offense, and he's already been good. And yet he's being drafted as the 33rd running back in drafts. I own him in 80% of leagues because of that. I'm just going to take him in every league. I have a draft tomorrow. I'm going to take Jamal Williams. No matter where I think he's going to go, I'm going to take him a round or two ahead of that. Because he is being mispriced, and he is going to put up a phenomenal season. Everything points towards it. Unless he gets hurt, which we don't predict injuries, he's going to have a phenomenal season. So I think he finishes inside the top 10. Would not shock me at all if he finishes inside the top 7. That's how good of a pick I really think he is. Let's move on to probably the hottest take that we've got here. And this really shouldn't surprise you because we've talked about Chris Godwin in almost every video. I believe he was in the first video of Deep Sleepers when he was going outside the top 250. And it's that Chris Godwin will outscore Mike Evans this season. That's just straight up. I'm not giving a handicap. I'm not saying he's going to be better value, which he will be, but he's not going to be better value. He's going to outscore him. This is the same one I did last season with Rex Burkhead and Mike Gillislee. I said that Mike Gillislee was being way too overdrafted, and you should be taking Rex Burkhead. Same thing. I don't think that Mike Evans is being way overdrafted because he is falling now. That people are starting to realize, maybe don't draft a guy who wins only on volume, who's having a very difficult schedule, who doesn't have his quarterback for the start of the season and might not even have his quarterback after that. This isn't just Mike Evans is going to have a good year. Maybe Chris Godwin gets a few points and outscores him. Chris Godwin's a very good wide receiver. I've looked at targets from various websites, and it's looking like he's going to finish around 120 targets. Now, variance is going to be above and below that, but roughly around 120. Godwin is going to be around 90. So there's a 30 target difference. If we look at the catch rates of Mike Evans, that's going to put this difference at around 15 to 18. Again, depending on variance. 15 to 18 reception difference. As a projection. Now, if he sees the low end and Godwin sees the high end, that's going to be more like anywhere from 5 to 30. That's the range we're really looking at. But let's say it's in the average. Let's say it's 15 to 18 reception difference. That lies within the touchdown variance. We have seen Mike Evans go from 12 to 3 to 12 touchdowns. So do not be shocked if Mike Evans has 3 touchdowns this year. Because they have O.J. Howard. Because they have Peyton Barber. Because they have Cameron Brate. Because they have Deshaun Jackson. And they have Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin's been used in the red zone in the preseason. Chris Godwin is a phenomenal athlete. So I'm not just throwing Mike Evans to the side for whoever's the two. I think that Chris Godwin athletically and skill-wise as an NFL wide receiver is on par with Mike Evans. So I think Godwin outscores Mike Evans this season. Is it going to happen? Probably not. It's a very low likelihood outcome, but it is entirely within the range of outcomes. Fourth, Amari Cooper leads the league in receiving yards. Now, the Raiders are going to be dreadful. Whole offseason, I have said that the Raiders will be horrible. I don't understand why they have an 8 projected win total in Vegas. That just baffles me. I have absolutely no idea who's setting that and why it's not being just crushed on the under. But that's what it's at, is 8. Their defense is a mess. But not only that, they lack weapons on offense as well, except for Amari Cooper. They have literally no one on that offense because Jordy Nelson is going to be a shell of himself. He's not going to be the Jordy Nelson we're used to. Jared Cook is fine, but he's still Jared Cook, a guy who's never really done anything of note in his career. You've got Marshawn Lynch, but he's not going to be catching any passes. You can't use him in the passing game. Their best running back, Chris Warren, in my opinion, their best running back, is now out for the year with a knee injury. Doug Martin is complete garbage at this point in his career. So what do you have? You have Amari Cooper and nothing else. And a team that's going to be down a lot, that's going to need to throw. And even in games that they win, the defense is bad. That's an undeniable fact. The defense is awful now. So even if they win a game, it's going to be because they're throwing to Amari Cooper and they're scoring points. Because teams are going to put up points against them. They're going to have to keep up. And that's why I put Marshawn Lynch and that whole backfield as a backfield to avoid, because they're going to have to quickly abandon the run in a lot of games. What does that mean? That means yards for Amari Cooper. They're testing him out of the slot more this season. I really hope they stick to that. Just see the Kansas City Thursday night game from last season if you want to see what he does out of the slot. But he was slow by injuries last season as well. He had the lingering ankle injury. He did not look like himself. He looked really bad. Why did he look bad? Well, one, because he was hurt, but also because of all those drops. Kept dropping balls. But guess what? I literally don't care if he has a lot of drops. You want to know why? Because he's going to have a ton of targets. You know, you're not going to have a lot of drops if you only have 70 targets. This dude's going to be at 150 targets. So if he drops 10 of those, I don't care because he's going to be fed the football. You know, he has a drop a game. I don't care because it's going to come with a ton of receptions and a ton of yards. He's a phenomenal athlete. At age 21 in his rookie season, over 1,000 yards. Age 22, stepped it up to 1,150 yards. Then he got hurt. That's the trajectory we've seen. 1,000, 1,150, hurt. That's all we have, and now he's in the best situation of his career. Finally doesn't have Crabtree ahead of him, who's a great wide receiver and someone I also love drafting in the middle rounds from Baltimore now. But Amari, get him on your team. I think I own him in a ton of leagues as well. Moving on, though, to probably one of my favorite players in the entire league, and that's Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill goes past Antonio Brown, past Julio Jones, past Odell Beckham, past DeAndre Hopkins, who I'm very surprised. I have Hopkins on almost every team as well. I did all these mock drafts out, and I keep getting like later picks, but every single time I'm sitting there and running back, and I'm sitting there like 12 or 11 or 12, and Hopkins is still there. So I'm not off of like Antonio Brown, Hopkins, Julio. I still draft those guys, but I'm also drafting Tyreek Hill because I think that he's going to finish as the number one wide receiver in the league this season. This connection, regardless of what happens, will be fun. And that's what fantasy football is about. It's about having fun. I want to turn the TV on every week and have Tyreek Hill on my team. Because when I see Pat Mahomes step back in the pocket, look deep, and just wind up that arm for a deep ball, I don't want to be like, oh no, don't connect. No, I want to be like, let's go. Because football is back, and Tyreek Hill is one of the most fun players to watch in the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes can throw the ball 80 yards. I expect a lot of deep touchdowns from him. And the argument against him is that, oh, he scores a lot of touchdowns from like 30 yards out. No kidding. Like, obviously, that's what happens. You don't just get the ball at the 5 and throw a fade to Tyreek Hill. No, he's like the fastest person we've ever seen. So, like, obviously, if you've got a guy that runs a ton of deep routes, he's going to score a lot of deep touchdowns. That's like how it works. He's going to have more 30-yard touchdowns than Jarvis Landry because his routes are more than 3 yards down the field. That's great. Like, Jarvis can run a 4-foot out, but Tyreek Hill is running deep bombs. So it's like, yeah, his touchdowns come from deeper, which means that they're worth more. So, sure, he's not going to have like 15 touchdowns because if he did, he'd have 3,000 receiving yards. So, also, when you look at it, it's the same argument as Amari Cooper. The Chiefs' defense is atrocious. Like, it's on par with the Raiders for being just really, really bad. So even in games that the Chiefs win, they're going to need to score points. And I believe in Andy Reid. I believe that offense will be good. They might have some hiccups early in the season. You know, starting out Mahomes, like, we don't know what's going to happen. But I have a feeling, you know, they're going to hit a 4-week stretch where it's just going to be bombs to not only Hill, but if they can get a connection with Watkins as well. And they've got a great running back in Kareem Hunt. So I really believe this offense is going to take a nice step forward this season. And I didn't even mention Travis Kelce. But I think they're going to take a step forward past what they had with Alex Smith into one of the most dangerous offenses in the game because they're going to have to with how bad their defense is. But just imagine for a second a high-volume Tyreek Hill because he's won on low volume. He had 105 targets last season. Could you imagine if he can stay healthy for the full season, and if their defense is as bad as we think it is? Could you imagine what he would do on 140 targets? Now, that's not going to happen. He's not going to have 140 targets. But I just wanted to say that because, like, could you imagine? Could you imagine taking, like, 5 deep shots to Tyreek Hill a game? Because, you know, 2 of them are going to hit. Oh, he could put up such crazy numbers. But I want him on my team. I'm getting him on my team because I truly believe that being the top wide receiver is easily, I'm not going to say easily attainable, but it is easily within his range of outcomes. So I've laid out 5 outcomes that are possible. Are these likely outcomes? Like if you're going to Vegas and you want to bet the yes or no that these happens, you take the no. But if we're laying lines, I'm going to take these at like, I don't know, plus 500 because I think that they can happen and I want them to happen because these are all players that I'm rooting for this season. They're all players I own on like a ton of teams. Besides Big Ben, I typically diversify at quarterback, so I'm taking a bunch of different quarterbacks. But I own these guys because I believe in their talent. I believe their ADP is too low, and I believe that they're going to have phenomenal seasons. So that is it. That is the last video that I will be doing before the start of the 2018 fantasy football season. It's a little bit sad, but don't worry because I'm going to be here every single week, probably on Fridays. I don't really know what day it's going to be, but every week I'm going to be doing the DraftKings video and then writing the premium DraftKings article. I've already started that, and it's coming out awesome so far. Week 1 is epic. The contests that they have are amazing, and the lineups that you can put together are crazy. So I'm super excited for week 1. I know that all of you are excited as well. But that's it. That is the end of this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, how about we hit that like button? How about we subscribe if we're new? Thanks for watching.